In this tutorial, I'll walk you through the setup of the Sims project for Unity. So you find this project on GitHub in our Believable Agent repository and the Sims Agent demo, right? And basically what you need to do to install this project is to follow the instructions in here. They are quite simple. First of all, you need to install the large file storage repository because we store binaries in the LFS. Then you clone the repository using this command, git clone believable agent sims agent demo recursive, right? So you use this command, right? Make sure that you add the recursive in there. I did it here on my Windows machine in the console. And what it does, it checks out the current projects and it also checks out all the submodules, right? As you see, we are using quite a lot of Git submodules such as Agents Core, Agents Unity, Interactive Objects, Sim Agents, and so on. Submodules are basically just another projects from Git repositories, right? So we have split this so we can share them across many different projects which we are doing. Once you have checked everything out, it's going to take a little bit of time, not that much. Let's go back to instructions. You need to download two different assets from Asset Store, which is a Node Canvas and then Dotween. It's never a good idea to store Asset Store repositories in the Git because it just takes too much time. And once you've done that, just delete the assets scripts reorderable list demo because there is some compilation error in the library that we are using, right? So what I've done basically when I've cloned it, I already had these assets from here, so these are just these two assets. I just copied them, then I opened the project and I went to my scripts, reorderable list. Let me just turn on the single column layout. I went into scripts, reorderable list, and there was a directory called demo which I have deleted, right? Once you do that, you get a nice window with no compilation errors, and then the next bit is to open the scene with 3D. Okay? Here in scripts you see all the submodules that we are using, and once you do that, you just click on run, and if everything goes well, you'll see a bunch of agents running around and already interacting with some sim objects. Right? So these are our sims who are performing different actions. Currently I've added only 4 different actions, and basically I keep on recharging until they become hungry. When you click on an agent here, you get information about the agent. So these are all the components on the agent. And these are the values for the sim, right? So you see how the happiness changes, how the hunger, energy, thirst, comfort, all the changes for the different agents, right? So you can click in between them. Alright, so a little bit of info how this was done. So first of all, on our main camera, I've added the sim spawn script, where you can add different, which basically this script spawns our sims. Okay. Of course, you can extend this script to be a bit more smarter, but for now, all it does is basically spawns agents between some XZ locations. So currently from -18 till 18, it spawns 100 agents. You know, you can spawn 300 agents for what I care. I think that's in 3D. That's about the top I got with 30 FPS. Or if you're doing some testing, you can just start at 10 and then you say, all right, every 300 milliseconds I wanna spawn a new agent. Right. So basically this this should start spawning agents. Oh, it doesn't. There's some error. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so the next bit what we're going to do is to set the minimum speed and then the maximum speed for the agent, right? So what is the minimum speed at which agent is moving, and then the maximum speed at which agent will be moving, and then the decay rate at which the different values are decaying for the agent. So that means slower or faster. This is slower or faster. And then what is the initial X value? What is the initial X PK for the given sim performance measure functions? For example, hunger value for sim will be at 80, energy will be 80, and so on. The values go from -100 to 100, right? So I can actually do exactly that. So I'll tell them, all right, you guys, the initial value is between -100 and 100. And we should be seeing now different actions, right? So we see drink, recharge, and so on. So they didn't all go immediately for just recharge because they've been happy with that. And these two, pretty much you can spawn two different things. You can either spawn a sim or just a random walker. You can play with that. This currently does nothing. This is for my simulator. And then here is which model do you want to use for your sim. Currently there is just one. Probably this can be made smarter from like list of different values. And then this is currently not used, if I'm not mistaken. And then there is also possibility to spawn different sim objects, right? So currently, as you see, there is nothing, but when I press play, there are some sim objects, right? So you can say how many, you can say which sim objects do you want to spawn. In this case, I'm spawning this for energy, food, fun, and water. And so these are my prefabs. So let's just take a look at the definition of a sim object. So this sim object contains two different things. There is just a 3D model, so it's just this block that I'm using, and then the definition of the sim object itself. Sim objects can carry many different actions, right? So this is the action that carries this sim object. It's currently just one, which is a recharge. It says that it takes 5 minutes to accomplish this action, 5 minutes of the simulated time, and then this is the modifier that it changes, right? So it adds 5 to energy. For example, if it would decrease the energy by 13, then this is how you specify the delta. Next bit, you can also say, how much this affects different personalities. So for example, let's say to shy people, this gives actually even more energy. I think this is the value between 0 and 1. So for example, so this is modifier. So for example, if I specify 2, this means that for shy people this will actually add 10, right? So 2 times 5. Or for example, for mean people, let's say this actually will not give them almost any energy, right? So 0.25 times 5, it's, I don't know right now what it is, right? 1 point something. Right, so these are the modifiers to the initial thing. So as you see, you can model different personalities with the given actions. And then on top of that, we have this planning here. So you can specify if you want to recharge yourself, you need to go through several different actions. You have to go through several different. You have to follow this static plan. So for example, to recharge, you need to go home, plug in charger. It's just these two, right? So this would be the plan for it. And then each of these would have to represent a new sim object, right? So you would have to have a sim object which would give you the action go home, right? So it would be go home would be here, and then you would have the modifiers in there. So probably in here in go home, you would say that some energy has decreased somehow, plug-in charger energy has decreased somehow, and so on, right? If you specify no plan, so it means that this action is simply executed on the object itself, action will be executed on the object itself. But as I said, you can specify that this action consists of more different actions. This has nothing to do with behavior trees. This is only telling that there are even more objects that you need to interact with by the time you fulfill this sim object action. Where do we actually specify behavior trees is in here, right? So if you have a behavior tree object that executes a behavior tree, you will add this BT plan performer, which is behavior tree plan performer. That's pretty much that executes a behavior tree, right? So you need to add two different components: BT plan performer, which automatically adds interactive object BT, and then interactive object BT basically for each action. So in here I have a recharge action. I need to specify a behavior tree and possibly the offsets at which these actions can be executed. Right? So this is the position offset, and then this is the lookup offset. Right? So if I would throw this in the scene, right, and I have these position offsets and lookup offsets. For example, this is my position, and then this is my lookup. This means that we want to be 0. The agents, when starts interacting with this object, will start at this position and will be looking at this position, right? And I can add another offset, for example, in here, and then another Z offset, let's say here, right? So now I have 2 spots at which agents can interact with this object. So they will be following actually these values. All right, so that would be about it. Last thing is that in here, which I will probably change soon, is that Scene object also specifies these seed values. That means that, for example, this energy object contains, will be seeded. There will be 5 instances of energy object seeded when the simulation starts. So when I put 100 in here, so we press on apply to apply the changes to our prefab. We can get rid of this guy. And when we click on press, we see we have a bunch of new objects in here, right? So we have 100 energies in the game view. All right, so that would be about it. If you have any questions, just call me, let me know via Skype, email, whatever. All right. There is one thing that I wanted to show you. So when you're working with submodules, right? So this is my project sim agent that's checked out. And if I do any change, so for example, I'll just save the scene. Let me just change some parameter in here, which you have now. Scene 3 file, save scenes, and my working copy. And now when I'm checking everything in, right, commit. I have to get a message, change steering. It will pop up this window submodule check, right? And if you have no changes in your submodules, you don't need to worry about it. But if you do have changes in submodules, it will ask you to basically check those changes in. That's about it. So, and yes, please use the source tree. It's basically the best editor for Git. Thank you.